Well, it's been maybe 5 years since I pulled the airplane out of the water the last time. I've been doing it for the last 25 years or even longer than that, I guess if you count the 170. The first bunch of times that I did it, I would always call the police department, the highway department, the troopers, everybody else, and let them know what I was doing and ask them if they wanted to get involved with it or if anything I need to do. And they said, no, don't worry about it. Everybody's used to float planes around here and stuff. Don't worry about it, just do it. Well, when I pulled it out the last time, of course, it was the weather was a factor, and I usually figure out the times and stuff. Like to launch it, I like to do it early in the morning, right at daylight, about 4:30 o'clock in the morning when there's no traffic on the road yet, or very little. And then in the fall, when I pull it out, I figured the best time to do it was about 9 o'clock in the morning or so. All of the morning traffic has gone, people going to work and stuff like that, and the busy traffic hasn't started yet. Businesses and stuff like that haven't started yet. Did that for years, and if anything, we might run into one, maybe two people pulling it out. Now I pull it out at a boat launch ramp about 1.5 miles down the road here, so it's not exactly on the road very far. But the last time we did it, because of the weather and everything, I wound up doing it later in the afternoon, and we run into the state trooper, and he about threw a fit. Oh, anyway, he said it was wide load, dangerous, blah, 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 even though we had pilot cars on both ends. And anyway, he asked me to put lights on the trailer. I had the temporary lights, the magnetic style of lights that I had strapped onto the airplane and stuff, and I didn't put lights on it because lights don't last very long on these trailers when you're launching them in the salt water and stuff, and then taking the floats on and off, drag them off and things like that. And we always do it in the daylight, and anyway, I put lights on it and stuff, temporary lights. He didn't like that, and he wanted me to get a license for it. So last fall, when we got just about done with the airplane, I'd had the trailer out to move the floats and stuff around on, and had the old floats stored on, or the new floats stored on them, and I swapped them over. And anyway, getting ready to get the airplane finished, and we thought we were going to launch it. I started getting the trailer ready to go, and I wired it up for lights. Then I took it down and to get a license on it and stuff. Well, found out that you have to get a certified weight on the thing before you can get a license, and I have to go to the city dump to do that. So then it turned out that was Labor Day week, and the dump was closed that Monday, and then the license office was closed that Monday, and then I got the news that I was fired, so I didn't think there was any point in putting the plane in the water. I didn't want to go ahead and put it in the salt water for just a short time. Figured it was worth more if I kept it out of the salt water than if I stuck it in there and flew it a little bit if I was going to go sell it. Monday, a new guy at the Fish and Game office here called me and said they'd like to start flying, and it's about the 10th of April, which is about 3 weeks away. So I went up today and talked to him at the dump about getting the the trailer weighed. The problem with the trailer is it's wider than the standard trailer. It's about 10 or 11 feet wide or so, maybe longer, so it won't fit on their scale. But anyway, I talked to him about doing that, and he said we could figure some way out to do it. Well, I went up and I had to move some trailers. I had to move the dump trailer around, and then I had to pull this out. I had the old floats stored on it, so I shuffled them off, dug it out, brought it down here, shoveled the snow off of it. We'll wait for the ice to melt on it and stuff now. It's melting off of there, so there's a little bit of damage to the wiring harness up there in the front for the lights. I have to fix that, and I can take it up to the dump and get it weighed, and we can go ahead and get it licensed. And we can get ready to get that plane launched, and hopefully I can go to work. They want me to start flying for herring surveys in April, which I haven't done those for years. Biomass got small enough that they quit having a fishery, and then it just kept declining. There's just so much predation on those fish up there that they're just being wiped out. And then budget cuts and stuff in the state, they just quit managing that at all and quit even going up there to look. Well, I guess they're going to go start surveying it again. Hopefully we can get a few hours of flying in, get 10, 12, maybe 15 hours of flying in between flying down to the Bradfield and flying up to Hobart Bay and doing herring surveys. So that'll be good. I haven't flown for a couple years now, and I'm getting kind of itchy. And then I got the excavator out. One of the excavators, I got it warmed up, got it out. And the plan there is I've got to move a bunch of stuff that's way up on a bank up there, and everything is soft and mushy. And I can't get the Bobcat in there with the forks. Several years ago, I bought a wood splitter. The company that made it made the wood splitters to attach to excavators, and I had them made an attachment for that so we could hook it on to the Bobcat, and then they made a plate that I can put on the excavator and mount that wood splitter onto the excavator so I can use it, and it's got holes or bosses in there for both excavators. I can mount that on the Komatsu PC30 or I can mount it on the PC35. So I dug that out of the snowbank, figuring that I can use that and put the forks on there, and then I can use the boom of the excavator to get up in there to get to those places that I can't get to with the Bobcat. And then I can also use that to split wood with, especially since the skid steer is kind of out of commission because of the big oil leak in it and stuff. So anyway, while I was doing that, I brought the excavator down here and roused it around in my yellow cedar pile a little bit and kind of stirred those up so I can get a little better inventory of what I got there. I've got one 14-foot small log that I put on the mill day before yesterday and started to mill up when I run into problems with the mill binding up on me. I've got one big butt there left that's 8 feet long that is beautiful wood, but it's too short for what I need. And then I found a couple of small pieces here. This one's got a pretty big cat face in it, a defect in it. I don't know how that's going to work out, but that's about a 12 or 14 foot chunk there. And then there's another little chunk there. Those will make timbers, even if they don't make boards. And then I've got another one here that I dug out of the bottom of the pile. Oh, those will all make, like I said, make timbers if nothing else. And then I got it exposed, all the rest of them exposed where I can see them, and dig them out as necessary. And those are some beautiful butt pieces there. They're all 16 foot long, except for one. This one here that's got the snow on it is 24 feet long, and I cut that long to use to make a beam, a sill plate for the extension on the house when we put that up there. And I'll probably have to, I might be able to cut that out with a mobile dimension sawmill when I get it going. I was figuring on cutting that out with a chainsaw mill. And I got the pump for the hot tub today. I just got notified today that it was mailed today, and we went to the post office to get some other things, and there it was in the mail. That was the quickest trip from Texas to Alaska, I think, in history. Anyway, I got the pump motor and the pump up in the basement. I just swapped over the pieces off of the old pump. I had to put the wiring harness, the electrical wire onto it and wire it up, and then I had to change the pump geometry. The output of the pump, it was sticking straight up on the motor the way it was, and I had to move it 90 degrees. So the pump will be ready to go in the hot tub. That'll be great to get it going, but it's empty now, so I'll have to fill it up with water once I get the pump hooked up, and it'll take a couple days to get it heated up, but I can't wait for that. On my way down to the seaplane dock, floatplane base, to check out my ramp here, about a half mile south of downtown, turning onto Dock Street here now. That's Southeast Island Fuel, one of 2 gas stations we have, and that warehouse there is Petro Marine, the only fuel supplier we have. Here on the left is the Coast Guard base. We have 2 Coast Guard ships based here, the Anacapa, which is a cutter, and buoy tender is the Elderberry, and they're down there on that end of the dock. And then we have Petro Marine has their fueling place for boats and stuff there, the float. And so here we go on down the ramp. This is a drive down ramp onto a vehicle dock, and then out off of that is the loading dock for the airplanes. We've got a floating hangar here. This is my friend Butch's. He's Cooper Not Flying, or used to be, he's not well anymore. And then the big hangar there is Pacific Wing, and they have a beaver on floats down here that they run. There's Pacific Wing's beaver, their big hangar. They're doing maintenance on it right now, it looks like. Got the cowling off the engine. This is my friend Butch's hangar here. This is an access dock for the hangars and to get down to the ramps. This used to go straight out here, but Petro Marine wanted to extend their dock out so they could get boats in there better. They got a floating dock there where they fuel boats and stuff there. They wanted to extend that out, so to do that we needed to dogleg this ramp. And the ramp here, well, this is a private hangar here, private airplane. That's a Glass Star that the guy has, a nice airplane, home built. Oh, this is my friend Butch's airplane, the 180. He's had it hangared there in his hangar for years, but the flotation under the hangar is not very good, and they were afraid that the floor was going to come up through in the wintertime when the snow was on there, so they brought it out here on the ramp, tied it down. I've flown that airplane quite a bit. I started fish spotting in that airplane back in 1986. Flew that in Sitka, Prince William Sound. I flew it 2 years ago for Fish and Game. Butch got in kind of a jam with a guy, wanted to lease it, and then backed out on it after he spent a whole bunch of money. Borrowed Butch's credit card and run it up and stuff, and so I flew his airplane for him and helped him get out of a jam. And then I flew off and on for him in the wintertime when he would go south on vacation in the wintertime. So I think it's for sale if anybody's interested. Real nice 180. Forget what year that is, 74, but it's the one that has a wide fuselage. Some of those had the narrow fuselage, same fuselage as the early 180s, the 170, 172, the squareback 172s. For a few years they widened them out, and then they went back to the narrower fuselage again, I think. But anyway, that one's really comfortable. So this is a ramp that I've been using for years. It goes down into the water there, and you just run the airplane up on it. Well, I haven't used it for a couple of years. I come down to check it out, and it has a tendency to grow mussels and barnacles and stuff down there, and those are real hard on the floats of the airplane when you're getting in and out of the water and for the airplane resting on it. So I come down, I'm going to clean those off. Now that's slipperier than heck out there, better than a bobsled run usually. This time of the year it's not quite so bad. In the summertime when the algae and everything is growing, I get a lot of fish scurry in here from the processing plants running, then it gets really slippery. And when it rains, even up here, you can't hardly stand up on the dock. So I've got my logging cork boots on, my rubber cork boots on, and I'll get down there with a square bladed shovel and clean that off. Okay, that's better. See all the little spots in there, that's where the mussels and stuff anchor up to the bottom there. I had to stop and to clean that up because cleaning those off there makes a lot of mud. It just looks like mud, all the brown gurry that comes off of there. And it takes a little bit for it to get cleaned up, but that's a lot better than it was. Not perfectly smooth by any means, but it's not sawtooth edge anymore. Let's see if we can get down here. You can see the seagulls use this for a roost here, and they eat a lot of those mussels and stuff and compost the shells. So, well, this is what it looked like before. There's probably about 4 or 5 inches of growth there on that bottom, and then you got some kelp and algae and stuff like that growing on there too. We'll get the truck all back together. Took it for a test drive yesterday evening. Everything went out copacetic. No more rattle in it like there was before. Drives pretty good. They want me to start flying here pretty soon, the next few days, so it's time to open up the hangar and get the airplane out and get it in the water and do some test flying on it and stuff to make sure everything's all good on it. So that's what we're up to now. I did look out the window a while ago as I was eating my breakfast, and I thought it was starting to snow. And then as I looked a little bit more, it was the wrong color. It was a dingy brown color. And I thought, well, maybe there's a bug hatch going on or something. It's very well could be this time of the year to get a bug hatch when the sun comes out like this and warms up. But it looked a little closer, and it's not bug hatch or snow, it's seeds. These are the seeds out of a hemlock tree, I'm pretty sure. The wind's blowing pretty good. It's pretty breezy today, and every time the wind is picked up around here, you get a shower of these hemlock seeds, or when it's dry you get a shower of these hemlock seeds. They look like little helicopters coming down, or miniature maple seeds. And the whole ground's just covered with them right now, and the air is just filled with them. Well, the first thing I'm going to do here now is take those last strips off of there, and then I got to figure out what to do about getting that tarp up out of the way. I'm not going to take the tarp down. What I did before is I just had ropes tied onto the bottom of it, and I'd get up on the roof there and pull it up and then lap it over and just lay it on top of the roof. There we get a little sprinkle of rain, a little sprinkle of snow, a little sprinkle of hail. Not too bad so far. You just cloud it over. It's not so bright and sunshiny as it was. Dug up some rope. I got some old climbing ropes that were discontinued or discarded out of a climbing wall or a climber club. I've got them tied up to the tarps there now, the tarp. I'll go see if I can't pull that up out of the way. Well, there we are, opened up to the air again, opened up to the daylight. Well, now I got to get my little excavator warmed up and bring it down here so I can pick that door up and get it out of the way. The center door there just comes off, and I just put it over out of the way for the time being. I was going to pull the plane out today, put the trailer in there, and pull the trailer plane out onto the trailer and move it over here and do a run-up on it and final check on it and haul it down to launch it tomorrow. But the weather's supposed to turn sour. It's supposed to snow maybe an inch or more tonight, and then tomorrow we're supposed to have a big windstorm, heavy snow, blowing snow and rain and 20-30 mile an hour winds. So I think the plane is in the best spot right where it's at right now for a while. I may want to go ahead and go put that tarp back down and button it down to keep it from blowing around and tearing up too. Well, that worked out okay. I was originally planning on launching the airplane this morning, Wednesday morning, But Monday afternoon or Monday evening, I looked at the weather forecast, and I was supposed to get an inch of snow on Tuesday night or so, and then heavy rain and strong winds on Wednesday, which was this morning. Well, yesterday was pretty nice most of the day, and then it started clouding up, and the forecast was for an inch of snow. We wound up getting about 3 inches of snow here this morning. The wind really wasn't blowing too much here this morning. I thought maybe I could have went ahead and snuck that plane out of there, but once we got out on the road, out away from here, the wind was pretty strong. It was blowing the car all over the road when we were driving out the road this morning. So I'm not unhappy with that. The wind didn't hit here too hard. It did blow a little bit. It sounded like freight trains going by every once in a while, but it didn't really hit down here. We're kind of shadowed in the wind unless it's really, really strong. Anyway, it did turn off. Right now it's raining pretty good, and it's rained all the snow off. So the weather's supposed to stay raining until tomorrow noonish or so, and then it's supposed to clear off and actually get sunshiny in the afternoon. So tomorrow afternoon I'm going to go ahead and pull that tarp back up and open the hangar up, get the airplane out on the trailer, and then Friday morning we'll launch it. Knock on wood, everything goes okay.